Good evening, my friends. This subject of this video chat is about Filipino women. The reason why foreigners initially are one of the reasons why foreign men are initially attracted to Filipino women, and it's not her looks. Yeah, can be important for some people, not all people. Remember, Jesus, the prophecy about Jesus is that he would not be attractive. So looks aren't a requirement for God. They're not a requirement to go to heaven. So let me just put you at ease. It's not as big a deal as we think it is, especially in God's eyes. It has nothing to do with going to heaven, all right? You don't have to be beautiful to go to heaven because the Messiah, for example, there's no requirement in the gospel. And the Messiah, it was prophesied by Isaiah that he would not be attractive. It says that. He wasn't stately. He wasn't tall. It says you would not, he had no form that you would be attracted to him. He was not an attractive guy. What attracted men to him is his personality, his character vibes. They're fantastic. All right. So, having said that, Filipinas are fiercely devoted to those with whom they bond. Now, bond is not my favorite word. I think we need to be, quote, bonded to people that don't want to bond to us sometimes. And people that say, I can't bond with you or I didn't bond, maybe they're not faithful. They don't have other character traits that are important to have in addition to so-called bonding. We need to bond with the truth and stay with it, be faithful to it, things like that. So my point is, Filipinas are fiercely devoted to the ones with whom they bond, that they develop a relationship with. Their parents, their sisters, their brothers, nieces, it could be an aunt, could be a friend, a woman friend, one of their dear woman friend that stuck by them in tough times and helped them. And this is why men love Filipinas, but it's a double-edged sword because Filipinas typically don't bond with just one person. I'm not saying they are after other men. Some Filipinas have multiple men. We know that. I know it. They have told me, several of them. And or I become aware of it, and I know Filipinas that tell me the men that they have, and sometimes it's not the same man. Okay, for example, in one case, a woman had two children with a certain man or certain men, and then she had a relationship with a married man. She told me I had to have this man. She was not self-controlled, and she got into relationships she should have never got into. So what I'm trying to say, though, is Filipinas bond in general with several people. Could be their parents, and even their own children. And so this is why we love Filipinas, because a lot of us don't have that kind of intense devotion in our past relationships or with our children or with our friends. So that's what makes a Filipina very, very special, very unique, but it's a double-edged sword because the foreigner can get upset and angry and divisive if his Filipina demonstrates that fierce devotion to somebody else, like their parents or their siblings or a relative or a friend. So one of the things I wanted to bring to light after living here, after visiting several times over the years, and finally living here, is that it is very evident to me that that's the way most Filipinos, a lot of Filipinos are. And it attracts you to them, but we have to understand as foreign men, as men, as Filipino men too, that they're going to show that devotion to others as well. And is it a sin for them to do that? Is it a bad character trait? In general, no. Can they go overboard? Yes. Could they not divide their time right with you? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe it's a balancing act. But maybe the foreigner wants them to stop that bonding, and that's going to destroy your own relationship. If you try to destroy the bond that she has with legitimate relationships, you're going about it the wrong way. If you try to destroy those and say it's all about me now, okay, I understand that concept. I understand that we need to put our spouse first, our children second. That's what I believe. All right, children to honor their parents. The parents are not commanded to honor the children, although that's good to do to your children, especially if they do commendable things for you and for the world, right? It's not the problem, but children are specifically commanded to honor, care for their parents if they have needs, to show them that kind of love and respect. So, but we should not mess with those bonds. We should consider whether they're percentage-wise, whether she's devoted to those bonds too much, or overly committed financially, or with her time, because you're her husband now, and she needs to be putting you first. I mean, it's God's will. I can explain it. It's human nature's will. Whether there's a God or not, it's just the right thing to do. It's good character to put your spouse first in your life. And that's a form of love and devotion. So, but, what attracts us to a Filipina may be her looks, but it's her devotion. But we've got to understand and respect that if she has some sort of devotion to others in her life, that's not a sin in general. It's not a mistake. It's not a bad character trait. So it's strange. It's a double-edged sword. You want a woman to be completely devoted to you and nobody else. That's not going to happen. In general, that just doesn't happen in the Philippines. Many of us would agree with this that have been in relationships, committed relationships or marriage with a Filipina. We would agree because we've seen it. We may not have recognized it or appreciated it. We may have been offended by it first. But as I told my daughters as they grew up, you're going to get new callings in life. Callings are like relationships. So if you're called to run a business, you have a relationship with your customers, your employees. If you're called to be a teacher, you have a relationship with your students. I'm not saying that's the main issue, but it is a relationship. There's a give and take, there's communication, there's leadership, there's fellowship. That when you daughters grow up and get a job, that's a new calling, which means a new relationship. If you're a nurse, you have a relationship with the administration and your patients. You need to maintain that. It's a good calling. But you still are a child of your parents. You need to somehow maintain that relationship, that calling as a daughter in some measure. So life becomes something we need to juggle and be more complete in, not to exclude things. It isn't that we move into a job and then we dump our parents, or we move into a job and we dump our spouse, or we dump our children and have no sufficient relationship with them. So, we need to be aware of this, and I just wanted to express it again because I've experienced it and I know it's true. And when I talk to certain Filipino women, I think they respond well to that, and they express to me in their own way that that's who they are. And that's why foreign men love Filipinas. But we got to be careful not to destroy any other callings that they have. But we might have to encourage her or help her manage them more successfully as she's in a relationship with you, and you need to be the priority in her life at that point, a substantial priority, not the entire priority. Because remember, Filipinos are fiercely devoted to those with whom they bond, and they have bonded typically with their parents, not all of them, before you existed, and their siblings. That isn't going to go away. And if it is, you're going to destroy her. You're going to mess up your relationship. You're probably going to get divorced, and you don't even know why. It's because you don't understand their devotion to the people with whom they bond. And so this is why we love Filipinas. It's a good thing.